Yo, what's going on? Oh, is that working? Yo, what's going on? It is. Are we here? Are we here? I think we're here. Yo, what's going on? It is 1 o'clock here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. It means time for another live stream. Today is Thursday, September 4th, 2025. First live stream of September. We are quickly winding down into the end of the year. We're in fall marathon season now. I just got back from Sydney, Australia, where I ran the Sydney Marathon and became one of the first 7-star finishers. We'll talk all about that in a little bit first, but first I want to say hi to everyone listening on the audio only version on the podcast. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the beautiful weather that we're having here. At least hopefully you're having the same beautiful weather that I'm having here in the Midwest. And for everyone else watching this later but not live, welcome to the #1 drive time radio show for runners that is neither aired at drive time nor is it on the radio. But all right, audio. Let me check. All right. How's that for the audio? Is that better? I think that's it. Oh my goodness, guys. It's been a while. I feel like I've been gone a long time and I'm struggling. So let's get back to it. Let's talk about Sydney Marathon. I just got back. Yesterday was my worst day as far as jet lag goes. I had to take a nap in the middle of the day. It usually takes a couple of days for the jet lag to really catch up to me. And yesterday was my day, but today I'm feeling good. And today, Thursday, I went for my first run, which is actually kind of like Friday for me because of the way that the time zone works. And that's the longest break that I've ever had. So, but I'm feeling really good today. Doesn't feel in my legs like I've run a marathon. My body is tired. It felt something. But otherwise I'm feeling great. Stevie76 says, it was on Southern Hemisphere setting. Let's say that's what it was as far as the audio problems go. All right. Let's see who we got here today. Frank has a question right off the bat. It says, how many people do you think got 7 stars before you? I would say there were 4,000 7-star at least attempters in Sydney, which I feel like is a lot, right? I think like over 1,000 were from the US from some of the numbers that I saw broke down. I would say I was maybe like the 300th, 500th, somewhere in that range. Not of Americans, but like of all the 7-star finishers. And then the other thing to consider is, do they count? Because like if you went down there last year for the World Masters Championships, they would retroactively assign you a 7-star. So I don't know if those would count as coming in before me, but I don't know. I finished at 3:13:35, which was faster than I thought I would finish on that hilly course for the day. So I'm really happy with that. And whatever number it is, because either way, I still got this medal. So this is the medal from Sydney. It is nicer than I was expecting. Normally I don't show you guys medals and stuff because you guys have already seen them all. But I felt like this was worth showing. So I had seen it like in the days before and I saw it at the Expo and stuff, but I thought it would be more of like a matte finish. I didn't realize it was going to be like chromed out. And it definitely looks like a Death Star to me. That's the first thing I thought of when I saw this thing. But the cutout, you can see it better on my hat, is the silhouette of the Opera House. And some people were smart enough to figure out where you had to stand to be able to match them up, and they were able to match up the Opera House with the cutout here. I wasn't smart enough to figure out how to do that, but some people did. And then on the inside here, on the one side that I'm looking at here, the date is inscribed, and on the other side is the skyline of the city, which is not showing up that. There we go. You can see the skyline of the city. So I showed this to some Australians. They're like, oh, I know this building and this building and this building and that. You could see the Harbor Bridge and the Opera House there, which are the only real things that I could list. But yeah, I feel like they did a really good job on this one, and it's very heavy. So it was very fancy, very fancy. I liked it a lot. Charlie wants to know, is it broken? No, it's not broken. I just took, I did the thing where you bite it to see if it's made out of gold, and I took too hard of a bite. Tony says it's such a good looking medal. It really is. I'm very impressed with it. Normally I'm not. I'm like, this one's nice. This one's understated, and I like that. Like Tokyo is always understated. The Berlin one is always nice and clean. It has someone's face on it, which is always funny. But this one, and the Chicago one, is usually goofy in a weird way. Sometimes good, sometimes not so good. But this one is nice. I don't know how they're going to top it next year. You know what I mean? It's good. Yeah, Luke says as far as medals go, I think that one is one of the better ones. For sure, I agree. Luke, I saw you got mentioned on another YouTube channel that I watched the other day. So I've been watching Jace Intravia's, I think I'm saying his last name correctly. I've been saying Jace Intravia's YouTube videos for, I guess, a while now, since before he moved up to Flagstaff. I was watching him, and then not that much longer before that. So it's not that long, I guess. But anyway, he called you out on his video, and I thought that was nice. And I figured you'd be watching that channel, but that's a good channel. Everyone, especially if you want to see someone who's using the Meta Ray-Bans really well, the first-person glasses, he's doing a really good job of it. He does, I think, the best job of anyone else that I've seen incorporating those in running. They must fit his face really well, because I could not run as hard as he's running and not have that thing sliding all around. So he does a good job. Luis says, is this heavier than the CIM metal? I would say it's thick like that one. It's very similar in that kind of weight. I mean, it's not the heaviest metal I've ever seen. Some of the Chicago half marathon medals, they're gigantic. They're like novelty size big, and so those are heavier, but this is just nice and thicker than it looks. So yeah. And Johnny says it looks better than the Paris Olympic medals. I don't know, man. I got a chance to hold one of the Paris Olympic medals. It's very pretty up close. So I don't know that I would go that far, but yeah, this is a nice one. Steve McKellar wants to know how many gold chain finishers were ahead of me. I don't know. I think probably a lot, I think marathoning can also be a very young man's game as well. And I feel like a lot of them are rocking chains. So I don't, I think there's a lot of gold chains ahead of me. All right. And CV76 says, great that you met up with Sotomehara. How about Matt Fox? I didn't see Matt Fox there, but I did see Sotomehara. And Soto was working with Charlie the Runner Beans. And so she had hired him to do videography work for her. And so when we did a shakeout run together, that's how I had a chance to meet him. And so I've been watching his videos for a while. And so it was nice to catch up and finally meet on TV, in person. Runtime, he says, on TV, there was a couple of spots that looked sketchy. How was the course? I thought the course was great. I will say there are some people that watched my Sydney Marathon video and they're like, it doesn't look like a major marathon. There wasn't enough people out there. And I was like, this is its first year as a major. And it was added later. It wasn't one of like the original ones. So like I wasn't into running when Tokyo was added as a major. So I don't know what Tokyo's first couple of years were like in terms of spectators. And I still think that the Sydney course had more spectators on it than Tokyo does now, or at least when I ran it in 2023, 2022. I don't know, whenever I ran it. And I think a big part of that is the cultural differences and how people cheer. So like, yeah, maybe, but Sydney Marathon also kicks off at 6:30 in the morning. So that makes it a little bit harder to have, a lot of just casual fans, or maybe people who aren't even fans of the sport, but are interested in seeing this weird running parade, hitting the street. They're not going to do it at 7 a.m. on a Sunday. They might do it at like noon on a Sunday, like if they're in New York, so yeah. So that's what I would say about like crowd support on the course. I thought, especially in Centennial Park, which I thought was going to be really grueling. I thought it was going to be like that one lake you run in the Baltimore Marathon, where it just gets real dead out there and super quiet and it feels super long. But instead, Centennial Park was one of my favorite parts of the course because there was so much energy. And my camera did some weird stuff during it. So some of the crowd, like the loudest crowds that I filmed, the camera didn't pick up. User error on my part. But other than that, the course was great. It's hilly, but it doesn't feel hilly in the way that New York feels hilly, or it doesn't feel hilly in the way that Boston feels hilly. It's just the hills are different. It's a lot more just rolling slightly up, slightly down. There was like maybe 3 really noticeable hills that I was like, oh, these are hard. And everything else is kind of like, oh, this is a hill. It's not too long though. It'll be over soon. Or this is uphill. It's an uphill grade, but it's an out and back, so I'll get the downhill on the way back. And I felt like of the majors, of the marathons that I've run recently, I probably had the most room to run in this one than of all the races I've run recently. Way more space out there than I had in Berlin. Way more, like Berlin was busy start to finish. London was busy start to finish, even for those of us who had to walk it in. And then like Tokyo was so busy. It took 5K before I felt like it even start running, so like there was a lot of space, but I didn't ever run by myself either. So there was like, I was like, this is a good amount of people. I don't think it's going to stay that way, but yeah. Stevie76 said, did they have portable urinals like in Berlin and London? They did not. And so there was a lot of dudes peeing at this race. And some of them, people were just peeing in the corrals. And I was like, okay. And the way the corrals were, it was like a slight uphill grade. And so I saw a dude walk over to the fence on the side of the corral, kneel over to do the kneeling pee thing. And then I could see him like kneeling, and then like on the side of the fence, there was still some street, and I could see him like the pee coming out. And then because it's like a slight downhill grade towards where I was, he was in front of me. Like I could see the pee like slowly creeping down the street over the course of the next like 5-10 minutes. Super gross. Yeah. So they could have used a little bit more urinals, I think. But overall, though, like I didn't find it like that was a huge problem. I didn't use the porta potties in the morning, so I can't really say if it was a huge line or not. Maybe it was. Yeah. All right. Mark Meyer says, "Can I get a PR belt? I ran 1:33 the Crystal Lake half. Congratulations." A 3-minute PR and good enough for 16th place. Nice work, Mark. I was bummed to learn that I wasn't going to be in town for the Crystal Lake half. I've managed to miss it every single year that I've lived out here. So maybe next year. Daniel Estrella says, the switchbacks with Kipchoge on the other side are amazing. Hard not to be inspired by that. Yeah, that was super fun because when I only saw Kipchoge once, and I want to say it was towards the second half of the race for him. Still pretty early in the race for me, just the way that the course loops back on itself. And because sometimes there's like a direct out and back, and then other times it's like the course meanders and then eventually kind of loops back on itself towards the end. And we're running, and we're not even at like maybe we're not even at close to the halfway mark yet. And there are people that saw the lead men coming through, because first we saw the lead men wheelchair, then lead woman wheelchair, and then we know the next timing truck that comes through, that's going to be the lead men. And so as people see that, they are running in the pack in the middle of the street. They duck over to the side of the road, stop running, get their phones out, and then start filming Kipchoge going by, which I was like, oh, those people really wanted to get that shot. They must have been really inspired to see him. But yeah, it was cool. It was cool to see that. Yeah. Tony says, I love the Sydney course and the support. One of my favorite marathons for sure. Yeah. I mean, even as hilly as it was, I had a really good time out there until like the last hill. That one's kind of sucked, but I really enjoyed that course. I just had so much fun on it. The first 10K, I mean, it kind of reminds me of LA, the way this race starts. It's a huge downhill, steeper downhill than CIM for sure in terms of how it starts. Steeper than Boston, I would say, even in terms of the way it's felt to me. So it's a huge downhill start. And the first 5K, I mean, you do have to go up over Harbor Bridge, but even on the other side of the bridge, there's more downhill. So there's a lot of overall net downhill in the first 5K. And then the next 5K is a lot of rolling. And some of those hills are kind of steep, but those first 10K are super fun because you see the Opera House, you see the water, you're seeing a bunch of stuff, and it's just really nice. It's windy though, and people were not running tangents very well in this race, but Yeah, it's a great course. I really like it, and I could see people wanting to run it multiple times because because of the fact that it has those hills, it makes it tricky, and it's easy to not run it as well as you could. James says, "Awesome race recap, Co. Are you going to do a runner's weekend for Sydney?" Yeah, I'm working on it now. I had some sponsor reels that I had to put out. I did make a race video, but I'll do the full kind of finale of the Surviving Sydney series as the runner's weekend. And so that'll hopefully come out early next week or something. We'll see. Daniel Burton says, "Co, how was the weather?" The weather was gorgeous. People in Sydney were telling me that we got really lucky because it had been soggy for like 2 weeks before that. And then the week everyone arrived, it was just gorgeous weather. Like fall here in the Midwest. I mean, the weather was actually almost identical to what I left when I left Chicago, because we were having unseasonably cool weather, and we still are right now, where like the highs were in the 70s and the lows were in like the low 60s. And that's kind of what we had when we went down there too. And I was like, oh, but it's a different climate. The humidity is going to be different. There's an ocean, or I guess the bay is nearby. So who knows what those temperatures are actually going to feel like, but it felt very comfortable. Like in the mornings and in the evenings, I wanted to have a thick hoodie, if not like a light jacket, maybe even a thicker jacket. And then during the day, I just wanted like, I had pants, but also just a t-shirt was fine. So yeah. So the weather was just really, really good. Johnny Dodgen wants to know about Ben running in the Vomero premiums. We had talked about it in the days ahead of the race. I got to spend a lot of time with Ben and his wife, while I was down there. And Ben was like, I brought the Alpha Fly 3s, but I've been really liking the Vomero Premium. He's like, after I run the Vomero Premium, running in the Alpha Fly 3s, it makes the Alpha Fly 3s feel like they're hard. And I was like, okay. I was like, the only thing I'll say is when I've run in non-carbon plated shoes, or like not racing shoes, like when I ran in even Primex 2, which has double plates, or Primex 1 Strong, which has double carbon plates, or when I ran in Super Blast, like at the end of the race, I felt like I wish I had picked just like a regular race shoe. But until then, about like first 20 miles are great. And he's like, well, I think I'm going to try it. And I was like, I hope then that means you're going to have a nice chill race. And then I won't have the distinction of helping you run your longest time on feet race ever. Because the slowest Ben has ever run a marathon was when he paced me to sub 3. He's like, no, I'm still going to run faster than that. And he did. He ran like a 240 something in the Vomero Premium, which may be a fastest known time in that shoe. Maybe we have to update the sheet for Vomero Premium. But yeah, he did it in that one. And he said it was great. He said it was fine. Steve says, great job on the marathon coat. Thank you so much, Steve. Vanessa Martinez says, how'd the toilet flush test go? Let me tell you how disappointing that is. So, in the way that Australian toilets work are a lot like European toilets, where it's not like there's a giant bowl full of water, and then when the toilet flushes, like the S pipe pulls the water out and then it spins out and goes out. It's not like that in Australia. Same thing with European ones, where like when you hit the button, it's almost like when water ejects out the bottom, like in an airplane. So the Australian toilets, the water just sucked out the bottom. So there was no spin. So I did try to do a test in my hotel bathroom sink. I filled it up. And I guess I just didn't fill it up enough. Because then when I then emptied the drain after filling the bathroom sink with water, and I put some like soap bubbles in there so I could see it better, the water still just drained straight out the bottom. There was no spin. So I don't know. And so I was telling someone about this, and one person said, yeah, it's a myth. That actually doesn't happen. And someone else like, no, yeah, you just need to have a lot more water for it to work. Maybe it's just not as strong in Australia. Because like Australia's not as far like away from the equator, So I don't know. Corey says, saw a lot of runners post about the Expo and the chaos. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know what it is about Australia, but people really wanted to make Australia look bad, I feel like. I don't know if it's because but my wild speculation is that it's people that live in London and love London and don't want attention taken off of London somehow. Not that this would take attention off of London. Maybe there's a weird like England-Australia rivalry going on. I don't know. But it felt like people were going out of their way to paint Sydney as being somehow unworthy of being a major. And so anytime I saw something like that, I was like, this is not even the worst that I've seen in a major before. Because it wasn't. I feel like they did a pretty good job, all things considered. Yeah, things were kind of a mess, but like, is Herm here? Herm was with me when I was at the Expo in Berlin, and I bought a shirt for my daughter, and Herm would remember like how long we were standing in line to buy merch. It was easily 2.5 times as long as how long it took me to buy merch in Sydney. And so Ashley Mateo never comes to these, but like Ashley was with me at the Expo in Tokyo when we went. And like to see the frenzy over the merch there I feel like that was the first one where the frenzy was kind of wild. And then I don't know if anyone's ever bought merch at the Chicago Marathon Expo at the Nike booth, but that's also, I mean, it's always pretty crazy. I don't know. Like I didn't see anything unusual from any of the majors. In fact, I was like, oh, this isn't as bad as I thought. I mean, it was kind of funny in the way that like people had stripped the mannequins because I guess those were like the last sizes of certain things. But also like they restock sizes somewhat regularly. So like I just feel like people get really nervous. And then someone was trying to tell me that there's a resale market for these, and the expos don't have like limits on how many you can buy of stuff. So people are just going in there and just buying up a bunch of stuff to resell it later. And I'm like, is there that much of a market for it? I don't know. So Aubrey's here. What's going on, Aubrey? It's good to see you. I got to spend a lot of time with Aubrey at this marathon, which was a lot of fun. Yeah. And then Aubrey kept making me feel bad because he was making all this content that was really good while we were down there. And I'm like, oh yeah, I was also there. I guess I could have made something about that too. And so I was feeling lazy about it, but it was good to spend time with Aubrey. Really good. All right. Ethan Strader says, shoe question. I haven't bought a super shoe since the original ASICS Metaspeed Sky, which I really enjoy. What are some of the current super shoes that you think would be the most similar? I would have you look at the current Metaspeed Sky. It's going to feel pretty different, but I don't know that there's a lot that have that kind of similar, very responsive feeling that the Metaspeed Sky had. Let me think about that. Yeah, I would probably start with the Metaspeed Sky first, and then maybe the Tracksmith Elliott Racer is worth looking at. I think that could give you some similar responsive feeling. It's not the most cushioned of the marathon racers these days. So let me see. I was just moving your comment so I could see the rest of these shoes. Oh, you know what you should also look at? The Cloud Boom Strike. I mean, the Metaspeed has come a really long way since the first version. But I would probably say try the current Tokyo first, and then maybe look at like Cloud Boom Strike. That could be one. Although, like, I don't know. If I had to run in a pair of Cloud Boom Strike or original Metaspeed Sky, I mean, I'd probably pick the Cloud Boom Strike just for the experience, but I would prefer running in the Metaspeed Sky original. But yeah, that could be one. And Matt had a new 10K PR on Sunday. Nice work. He ran a 41:16, a 29-second PR, and finished second overall of 66 by 2 seconds. Nice. Oh, man, you almost had first place. Should have ran 2 seconds faster. It got passed on the final stretch after starting the kick with a quarter mile to go. Oh, no, you waited. You went too early. Oh, man, but great racing. Great job out there. Nice. Let's see. And Getting to Run says, can I get a PR bell? Shaved 3 minutes off the 10K on Sunday. Congratulations. That's amazing. Nice. Great work. Man, everyone's racing well. All that summer training is paying off, guys. Stevie76 says, the BQ Performance was powered by Vegemite. Vegemite, I kind of wish I had some. I mean, I know you could get some more if I really wanted to. I'm not going to go to the trouble of getting it. But like I went to like a convenience store to buy some, and I had some, and I was like, oh, everyone told me to have this with toast and butter. But at the time I was like, it was like 10 o'clock at night, maybe 9 o'clock at night. And I was just in my hotel room. And so I had Vegemite and I'd bought chips to eat. So I was like, oh, that's close enough. I'll just put this on a chip. And I put like a glob of it on there, and it was gross, guys. It was gross. But then the next day at breakfast, I realized that they had a lot of toast options, but also little single serving packets of Vegemite, which even then I only used like a half of it, maybe a quarter of it. Because people said toast, a lot of butter, and then a scrape of Vegemite. And when I did that, oh man, that's good. The flavor does a little bit of a dance. It does a little shimmy. It's really nice. Cause it's like, you get the butter, and then that's very savory. And then the saltiness of the Vegemite really cuts through it. And then if you have the butter to Vegemite ratio right, it's this weird kind of like, is this sweet, like a sweet cream butter, or is this salty? Is this bitter? What's happening? And it's really good. And this morning I was like, I could go for some of that right now. But I think maybe it was just that the sourdough at this hotel was really nice. Maybe that's what it is. Martha wants to know, is New York still the hardest one? I would say that, I don't know, maybe, yeah. I ran New York when it was really hot. So like I have a certain opinion of New York. But I feel like New York is harder because I feel like the big hills are bigger and the long hills are longer, you know? But maybe if I paced New York well and had a good weather day like I had in Sydney, I wouldn't think so. Because like going through this course, you know, I was tired by the end, and by 35K, I was like, there's a kilometer marker every kilometer. And I hit 35K, and then I'm running for a long time. And then I see a flag coming up. I'm like, oh, that must be 37K. And it's 36K. And I was like, what? It's only been like about 5 minutes since the last sign? That's not right. And then like the next sign was 37, and I was like, this is not right. So the kilometers felt really long towards the end. And there's one last hill in the Botanical Gardens that is just really, really not nice. That's very long. That's a long one. So that one was hard. But for the rest of the time, I was just having so much fun running this race that I didn't feel hard to me. So is it the hardest? I don't know. It's pretty close to New York, I'd say. Aubrey says, yo, those hills don't play. That last one at 39K was brutal. I got PTSD on my run yesterday. I mean, it was hard. I think what ended up being really helpful for me is that like I had people that recognized me like ran with me up that last hill, and so like we were chatting kind of, so that helped. And then at near the top of the hill, where I just was like, I was basically just shuffling my feet at that time. The pacer that I was trying to stay ahead of caught up to me. And then I started to panic. So I was like, I got to stay ahead. So that was like pretty good timing. It couldn't have worked out better for me. So that helped me get over that last hill. The only thing was that pacer kept saying, that's it, all downhill from here, while we were still running uphill. And then I could see the road ahead, and it kind of curved to the right, and there was more hill. I could see that. And he's like, all downhill from here. And I'm like, are you seeing the same thing I'm seeing? I didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking. Calvin wants to know, how many Australia upside down jokes did you hear or make while down there? I think I only heard like one or two, not a lot, surprisingly. I'm proud of myself for that one. you know. Sonny says, "Hey everyone, were there any quiet sections of the race?" Yeah, I mean on some of the bridges for sure, because there wasn't able to be pedestrians on a lot of the bridges. And then even after the main harbor bridge, there's a couple of other like kind of underpasses and overpasses and stuff where there weren't people inside those. And then I guess some stretches were a little bit more spread out than others, you know. But I felt like there was crowd support the whole way. I mean, if you're thinking it's going to be like when you come off of the Queensboro Bridge, you know, the whole way, that's not it, because New York's not even that way the whole way. That's why the end of Queensboro Bridge is memorable. And so, yeah, there were some times where it was quiet, but I didn't think, I mean, even Berlin, I thought was really quiet at times, where I was like, all I hear are shoes. I didn't have a all I hear is shoes moment. But if there was one or two people on the side of the road and they were cheering, you could hear them. You know what I mean? And so there were some quieter parts for sure. Martha says, Australia is under an ozone hole, so it's really important to wear sunscreen there. Maybe that affects their drain direction. She's joking. Yeah, people talked about that in Australia a lot. And the sun is different in Australia. Like, you know how, obviously, like when there are times where it's like it's hot in the sun, but it's cool in the shade. It's really hot in the sun and really cool in the shade in Australia. It was weird. After I run hard, after like a long run, I always get really, really cold. And so I went to a run-up party. It was on a rooftop bar, which was really nice. But they kept having the bar staff bring out more umbrellas for people to sit under. And they were like, they're like, Mike, we'll get you one too, because you've been sitting in the sun. And I'm like, no, I love it. I'm kind of cooking, but I'm otherwise so cold. Like if I would get up to go get a beer at the bar, I would shiver because I was so cold. And then when I got back in the sun, it was warm. I felt like a lizard trying to warm up in the heat. But the sun is different down there. It really is. Yeah. Yeah, Herm's here. He says, remember Berlin last year? Talking about the Expo, I think. Yeah. That was wild. People were pushing and shoving to get through lines and stuff, man. Anyway. Yeah, Shannon says, she says, hey, Co-Fam, congrats on another star, Co. Thanks, Shannon. That was a fun one to collect. Yeah. Aubrey says, my favorite part of the trip was the rehydration. Those electrolytes that my dad recommended did the job. Yeah. Aubrey and I had dinner after the race, and it was really nice. And then Aubrey called his dad up and asked what he should have to drink. And his dad was like, whiskeys. So we had some whiskeys too. That was nice. Yeah. And Johnny says, Chamonix was great. Got to catch up with Thomas, Taylor, Carl, and Reese from Believe in the Run, and then bumped into Tommy too. Yeah, it seems like everyone was in Chamonix this year. I was having some FOMO. I was like, that would have been a good year for me to go. But people don't invite me to Chamonix anymore. So, I wouldn't have gone this year even if they had asked, but no one asked me. And Tony wants to know if I got to experience the city at all. Botanical Gardens, Bondi Beach, Zoo, other touristy stuff. Yeah, I got to experience the city a little bit. I got to do a harbor tour, which was really nice. And I feel like is a must do for people. If you don't go on a harbor cruise, just take a ferry somewhere. Because then you get to see a lot of the skyline. You get a really great view of the Opera House and the Harbor Bridge. And it's just nice to be on the water and you don't have to walk around. So that's good. You're off your feet. But then I also did go to Bondi Beach. I took the bus over to Bondi Beach, which was nice. And that was cool. I got to see that pool. There's a pool right by the ocean. And then the ocean, like the waves crash over the side of the pool. And it's really weird. But I didn't get to swim in it, but I did get to see people swimming in it. So that was kind of fun. I didn't go into the botanical gardens. We ran like around that park. So we got to run along the water in that area. And then I didn't go to the zoo. Ben invited me to go with his family, and I was like, that sounds like not fun. I'm like, I can go to a zoo anywhere. But then there was koalas and kangaroos at the zoo. And there are koalas and kangaroos at other zoos that I've been to. So it wouldn't have been the first time I've seen a koala or a kangaroo. But I kind of, now I'm regretting that I didn't see a koala and a kangaroo while in Sydney. I don't know. I just feel like I missed out on that one. But yeah, I spent a lot of time eating a lot of food and drinking a lot of coffee. I had a lot of flat whites while I was there, guys. Oh my gosh. I had so many. It was good. Really good. It's a lot of milk, though, after a while. I mean, the great thing about flat white is that's not that much milk. But when you have 5 of them a day, it's a lot of milk. Vanessa says, what was your longest run prior to the race? Did you feel like it worked out okay? I felt like it worked out okay. My longest run was 16.6 miles, maybe a month before the race, more than a month before the race. So it was not an ideal build, but I feel like I managed it well for the heat that we had. And so like, I really wouldn't have changed too much, from the way I did things. I don't think I could have done much more. Maybe I should have run a couple more doubles, and like easy doubles, like easy morning, easy afternoon. But I feel like, given the schedule, given the heat, mainly given the heat, I feel like I felt like it worked out well. So I was pretty happy with it. Jody says, good day, everyone. Jody, it was nice to run with you. It's great to meet in person. That was awesome. Corey says, and you mentioned this not being your A-goal race. If Sydney wasn't it, what's next? Next up is Valencia. So training will start while I'm in Tokyo. So I came home on Monday, which is actually a Tuesday for me, kind of, but with the time zone. I came home on Monday, and then 9 days later, I'll be leaving for Tokyo. So that's a good time to get to the box for today. Speaking of Tokyo, this came for me while I was gone, and I have a feeling it's stuff for Tokyo. So World Championship starts pretty soon. I'm going there with ASICS to cheer on the Americans, because I'm going with ASICS America. So I'll be going to cheer on the Americans that'll be competing. Peyton Otterdahl in the shot, Val Allman in discus, Clayton Young are the main people that I'll be looking for, plus any other Americans and other ASICS athletes. So let's see what's in this giant box. I was thinking maybe it was another suitcase, because they sent a suitcase before Paris, but it's not a suitcase, but it is a really nice travel bag. Look at this. Oh my god, this is nice. Oh, I think this is one of those bags with like a shoe or maybe like a separator pocket in the bottom. Let's see, there's a lot of stuff inside. This will be a nice kind of carry-on bag, you know. Lots of places to stash stuff. Pack your bags, you're going to Tokyo. We're so excited to have you join us in Tokyo for World Athletics Championships Tokyo 25, a celebration of all things sport. I hope you enjoy a few of our travel musts and some of our favorite items from our home country of Japan. Arigato, Team ASICS. All right, let's see what's in here. Matching little toiletries bag. Cute. They've got a fan in here. It's going to still be really hot. I just looked at the forecast, and it's going to be mid 80s for the highs, and I think low 70s, high 60s for the lows. This is a little fan. Oh, but it's an ASICS fan. I have a bigger handheld fan that I bought for Paris, and I never brought. I showed you guys the stuff that I brought for Paris, right? But I'm going to be. I'll probably bring this, but I'm going to bring the big one. I'll bring the big one for that. Comes a little hand strappy thing too. What is this? Matcha. I don't think I've ever had matcha before. Did you know that? So we'll have some matcha tea before I go. One thing I would like to do is, I've never done a tea ceremony in Japan, so I'd like to do that. See, maybe we could do that. Some Biore UV Aqua Rich Whiteless Moisturizer with SPF 50. So it's moisturizer, it's face lotion with SPF in it. And then peach gummy candies, gluten-free. Get this out of that. Tell my wife about these. Oh, there's a bunch of flavors. We got peach, lychee. I don't even know how to say that. The only time I've had lychee is in cocktails. And then mango gummy candy. This is nice. I like mango flavored anything. Look at this. I want to have some of this today. Pocari Sweat. I don't know. You could get Pocari Sweat as a packet. That's amazing. That's so amazing. I had a lot of Pocari Sweat when I was in Tokyo earlier this year. Oh, look at this cutie guy. Oh, this is a little shrimp sushi. My daughter's going to love this. This is really cute. I like this a lot. I love the size of it. I don't know why I like that so much. And what's this? Oh, speaking of matcha, it's an actual matcha set. So it's a brush, a little strainer, and then I don't know how you use this. There's no instructions. And there's a duck. A little wooden duck. I don't know if the duck lives in the little thing or what. But yeah, so I'm going to have to figure out how to use that. And we'll have some matcha. We have one more live stream before I go. So maybe I'll try to get this all figured out for next time. We can have a little matcha. But while we're here, we got to try. Let's eat some of this gummy candy. Oh, how Japanese. It's a bag full of little bags of individually wrapped candies. Oh, this is good. Ooh. Very mango-y. I like that a lot. All right, thank you, ASICS, for sending all that. That is really nice. Herm thought this was a Labubu. My kids have not asked for any Labubus. I feel fortunate. Oh, let me eat another one of these. Oh, good. You already said it's lychee. Is it? It's not lychee? Lychee? Okay. It's good. All right. Luke says, and Martha says, there's no shoes in size. Yeah, there's no shoes in this one. In Paris, they gave us a lot of stuff when we got there as well. So I'm not expecting that. They certainly don't need to do that. I mean, they already sent me one of everything. Not everything, of the stuff that they think I'll like. Guys, this bag has so many zippers in it. It's awesome. It's a pack rat's dream. It's actually, I think, going to be the perfect travel bag. So this will be my it even has a luggage strap. Yeah, I think I'm going to take this instead of my normal backpack. Maybe I'll also bring the backpack just for convenience while I'm in Tokyo if I need to go anywhere. But I know, I really like that. Yeah, no shoes inside, but in Paris they did give us a bunch of stuff in Paris. I don't know if that's going to be the case this year. I'm not expecting it because again, I've done so much events with ASICS before that I have a lot of things. I don't need them. All right, let's have one of these lychees. That's really nice. Tastes like white peach. Oh, this is peach. I did eat the peach. What did I just... This one's a lychee. I'm like, this tastes like peach. Because it is. All right. This is the one that I really want to eat. Jody says, I think your daughter's going to steal that bag for her running bag. She needs a better running bag for sure. Right now, she stole my Tracksmith little side bag. It's supposed to be the size for shoes. And whenever she packs that thing up, she packs it up to the brim. This one is the lychee that I'm eating. I can't tell what this tastes like. I guess it tastes like lychee. Right. Luke says, I'm still surprised Mantz is going for the American record in Chicago over world champs. It's interesting to see how each person weighs things like that. I think that, if he wants to run fast, right, and he wants that record, you're not going to get that record in Tokyo. I haven't looked at the course, but it's going to be hot there, right? So that's not going to make for an optimal day. There's no appearance fee for going. I don't know how his contract is structured, but he already has a Team USA appearance in the Olympics. Maybe this is a new cycle. He could make another U.S. team, but I'm guessing Chicago probably has a pretty big appearance fee and bonus set out for him if he does break the American record there. Chicago really likes having records broken there. And so I'm guessing they're paying people to come hunt for records. So I think that, Luke, I don't know, maybe we should team up because I feel like there's going to be some opportunities to see some really fun record chases. John Career is still, I think, on track to go for the world record in Chicago. I mean, and he'd be the defending champ as well. And Mantz going for the American record. I think that those two storylines are going to be pretty interesting to see. I mean, I think we'll have a feeling, we'll know really early if John Career has a chance. But I feel like he's going to go for it. And then, I don't know, does he go for it till he crashes and burns? I'm not sure. We'll have to see. He's saying like, it is a Nike race after all too. So that could be another thing too. And Martha says aqua rich for this Biore thing means it's mostly water, which most lotions are. Yeah. So I think, it's labeled like it's a sunscreen, not like it's a lotion. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm debating whether or not to go and try and buy some like Asian sunscreens while I'm in Asia, the kinds that you're not allowed to get here. But maybe we'll see. All right. And Martha says vindicated on my appearance fee, probably reason. Yeah, I think that I don't know if Connor Mantz is still living in Jared Ward's basement, but I know he's saving up to buy a house. So maybe they already bought the house, but maybe he needs to pay. Now you got to pay the mortgage now. So there's that. And Luke says, would love to. If you're interested, we can combine and conquer. Yeah, I think we need to figure something out. My guy, Chase, is not going to be coming out to the race this year. So he's who I worked out with last year. So which is a bummer because last year he was able to get finish line and start line access. So that was really nice. But, yeah, he's not coming out this year, but I'll message you. We'll have to coordinate. Joey says your wife isn't going to love the candies as there won't be any left. There might not be. I like all of these. Guys, I gotta tell you, I love white peach flavored candies. I like white peaches as well, but I love white peach flavored candies, and I love mango flavored. There's not gonna be a lot of candies left. No, we gotta. It's my daughter's cross country season, and some of these meets are like an hour away, and so I usually just grab a handful of snacks to eat on the way there and on the way back. So I feel like a lot of these are gonna, they're gonna be a lot of these are gonna be gone. Terry says the Great North Run ballot is open. I was just looking at the calendar because, just so you guys know, I'm not telling you guys anything that is a secret, but at Sports Tours, they announced they have a race briefing where like everyone that came with Sports Tours can watch a presentation about someone who's run the race a bunch of times. A coach talks as well, and someone goes over logistics of like how we're going to get there on race day, where the cheer stations are for Sports Tours, and like how to get back. But in that one, they announced that Cape Town is going to become the 8th major starting in 2026. And it's going to move to May. So I'm not telling anyone any secret information, and it's not been formally announced yet. But Sports Tours was putting it out there for people to say like, hey, if you want to be sure to run in Cape Town in May, like make sure you're on our email newsletter so that you could sign up. They might even have pre-registrations out already, but I'm going to try to go. So but anyway, so I was looking at my race calendar because I was thinking about what races I want to do next year. And I was like, well, now I got to rearrange stuff because now there's a race in May that I think I want to do. But if we could get some Kofuzi Run Club members on that trip too, that'd be super fun. Yeah, because the after party is always really good. And so I feel like that would be a great way to hang out with everybody. And that way I don't have to try and go places and I could just stay in one spot. But that also had me thinking like, well, I wanted to do more half marathons next year. Great North Run is one of them. But I don't remember what the dates were. Yeah. Yeah. Herm, are you going to come? He says, I'll join in. Herm, you know what's funny? I was watching, Herm's been making YouTube videos lately. And Herm, I apologize if you have been, but it feels like you just started doing more. I forget which one I was watching most recently, but you're ending the video with kind of a close-up on your face. And then, you know, those little icons can pop up for like subscribe here or watch this next video here. The icon with your cartoon avatar was right next to your face. And then there was your face, and it looked, obviously it looked similar, but I was like, oh man, that cartoon is right on because it looks exactly like her. Anyway. Jason's running says, Great North Run is in September, usually first week. Done it a bunch of times. It would be great to have you over. I mean, I've been eyeing Great North Run for a really long time. Who's the sponsor of that race? I don't know. But yeah, I'd love to do that one. I wanted next year to be a year of all half marathons, but it looks like I'm probably going to want to run Cape Town if it's its first year as a major. So that kind of I was like, I wasn't ready. And I was like, I was talking to the guy at Sports Tours about it. I'm like, you mean Cape Town 2027? He's like, no, 2026. I'm like, you mean in like 8 months from now? Like they haven't even run Cape Town 2025 yet. How are they going to get ballots and stuff out for Cape Town 2026? He's like, they're going to do it. So I don't know. Yeah, Martha says, I already got the Abbott age group invitation for Cape Town, but I didn't pay attention because it's so far away. Even farther than Sydney, I think. Yeah, it's further away from the equator, and getting to Africa was hard. The 2 times I went. Because, I don't know, because I like to fly United. We went to Frankfurt first, I think, both times. And I do not like Frankfurt as the airport. and then we had to fly from there. And so I think it's going to be a long travel day. Flying to Sydney was relatively easy. I had a 4.5-hour flight to LA, which was uneventful. We had like a 30-minute delay. And then the gate was 2 gates over, and I had an hour before the next flight. And then it was just straight from LA to Sydney. It was like 15 hours. I got to tell you, after like 9 hours or so, it's all the same. Like a 10-hour flight's the same as a 15-hour flight. Once you're on there, you're on there, you know. Anyway, yeah, but yeah, I would like to go. I was thinking next year could also theoretically maybe have been a comrades year, but I guess not anymore. Martha says, I also have a huge amount of miles in United and would have to use them to go business class on a trip like that. But it's also right after Boston. Is it early or late May? I want to say it was like not. I don't think it was. It might be Memorial Day weekend, or it might be the weekend before that. I want to say there was a 20 in there somewhere. There was a 9er in there. But yeah, business class or at least United Premium is the way to go. Yeah. And Martha says, it's almost June, basically. Yeah. Johnny says you can go to UTMB, then come to the UK, maybe visit a UK running brand, and then do the Great North Run. Or maybe I'll just go straight to just do the Great North Run. I was looking at the Super Halves website as well. There's one in Wales, Cardiff, right? Is that one of the Super Halves? The thing is, I thought the Super Halves would be like an interesting thing to kind of chase next. But like one's in Berlin and one's in Valencia, and I've already been to those 2 cities before, so I was like, that's a little bit less interesting. But yeah, doing the Great North Run, I feel like it's just such a big race. I'd like to experience it, you know. Steve says, can you sleep on planes? I cannot, even when self-medicated. I can sleep on planes pretty good, but I usually sleep on planes inconveniently. Like about 30 minutes before they're about to serve a meal, that's when I'll fall asleep. And then I'll, of course, wake up to eat, but yeah. And I signed myself up for vegetarian meals on the way to Sydney. And these days, whenever I do, I really regret it. Because the food just isn't that good. You basically end up with vegan food, and I don't like it. Although I signed up for vegetarian, so I did at least get butter with my bread. But yeah, it wasn't good. And normally, if I don't sign up for the vegetarian meals, then I could just get the non-meat option usually. Because there's usually a meat option and a non-meat option. There just might be a lot of dairy in it, you know? And I'm fine with that. So I'm going to stop ordering vegetarian meals on flights. Terry says Cardiff is a great city. I've never been. I love it. Jason's Running says Cardiff is in the series, doing it in about 6 weeks. Prague is one of the best super halves and indeed cities to visit. Prague is on my travel bucket list. So like I really want to go to Prague. And so like I feel like that'd be a great way to finally make it out there. I was really looking to see if Sports Tours has any events in the super halves for the super half events or like any trips, because that would be the easiest way for me to get there, but they don't. So yeah. Rob Gilbert says Great North Run is managed by AJ Bell, and the Great North Run is on 13th of September 2026. September 13th. Okay. I don't think I'll be doing any fall marathons next year, so that could work. I haven't planned that far ahead yet, but it's good to keep in mind. And Martha says Prague is gorgeous. Yeah, I really want to go. And so you guys are making me feel like I missed out. Soy says Prague's public transport is awesome. Okay. Oh, and Jason Ryan says Prague and Berlin are back to back. Prague Saturday and Berlin Sunday, 2 for 1. I feel like I feel like that's a trip. I saw some people do that this year, and I was like, that would be a good YouTube video. I feel like. How far apart are those cities? As an American, I don't know. Dan Johnson's going to Prague on the 15th, just for fun. Hope to get in a run or two also. I hope you do. All right. I got a lot to think about calendar-wise, but thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll have one more live stream before I go to Tokyo. So I will see you guys on Monday. Jason started, there's a 4-hour train between Prague and Berlin. Oh, okay. There'll be a bumper runners weekend video and a train, 2 half marathons and a train ride. I'm in. I'm gonna look it up now. I gotta go look it up, but I gotta get ready to go to my daughter's cross country meet. So, I gotta get going. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I will see you guys on Monday. Enjoy the beautiful weather out there, guys, and be safe. See you next time. Bye.